My name is Alexandra Morgan, and I'm standing in the basement of my family's historic mansion, surrounded by dusty decorations and old furniture. While the sounds of their lavish Christmas party drift down from above, the basement is more appropriate for your status, my sister Catherine had smirked, directing me away from the main gathering. If you're watching this, drop a comment if your family has ever made you feel like you belong below stairs. The crystal chandeliers shake slightly with each burst of laughter from upstairs, where my brother James is probably showing off his new Rolex, and Catherine is undoubtedly bragging about her latest property investment. What they don't know is that the envelope in my cheap handbag contains more than just their obligatory Christmas cards. Inside is the deed to this very house, the one they think they're inheriting. We need someone to organize the old decorations, my mother had announced earlier, her voice dripping with false concern. Alexandra can handle that while we entertain the important guests. The same mother who's been planning to divide this mansion between my successful siblings, completely unaware that I bought it last week. Before I tell you how I'm about to turn their upstairs-downstairs drama into the most expensive lesson in property ownership they've ever learned, hit subscribe. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't climbing the social ladder, it's owning the entire house. I check my watch, hiding my smile. In exactly 45 minutes, when they gather for the annual Christmas property discussion, they'll learn that while they were busy relegating me to the basement, I was quietly becoming their landlord. Growing up, Morgan meant living in a constant real estate seminar. Every conversation revolved around property values, social status, and maintaining the family's position in Boston's elite circles. Catherine and James were groomed for this world private schools, country club memberships, and constant praise for understanding the importance of appearances. I was the disappointment who preferred coding to cocktail parties. The pattern of exclusion started early. Family photos were staged in the mansion's grand staircase. I was told to wait in the study during these shoots. Holiday dinners meant Catherine and James at the main table while I was seated with distant cousins or staff. Every achievement of mine was measured against their property portfolios. Our parents' obsession with real estate bordered on pathological. Dad's birthday gifts to Mom were always property deeds. Family vacations weren't planned around destinations, but potential investment opportunities. Catherine's wedding was celebrated not for the marriage, but because she'd married into a real estate dynasty. James's mediocre career in finance was praised because it maintained valuable connections. Property is power, Mother would lecture, ignoring my tech startup's growing success. Real estate is real wealth. The irony of their dismissal was that while they were leveraging properties they could barely afford, I was quietly building an empire that could buy their precious social circle twice over. Every family gathering became an exercise in hierarchy. Catherine showing off her latest condo purchase, James bragging about his downtown office space, both financed to the hilt. Meanwhile, my growing tech company and strategic investments were dismissed as playing with computers. Only our groundskeeper, Mr. Sullivan, saw through it. The basement's got the strongest foundation. He'd wink as I helped him with repairs. That's where the real strength lies. While my family was busy flaunting their mortgaged properties, I was silently building Morgan Tech Solutions into a cybersecurity powerhouse. The same week Catherine bragged about her leveraged condo purchase, I closed a $180 million government contract. While James boasted about his financed office space, I was quietly acquiring prime Boston real estate through anonymous LLCs. I kept my success carefully hidden, operating through shell companies and maintaining a modest public profile. When Forbes wanted to feature me in 40 Under 40, I used my middle name, Elizabeth, and a photo where I looked just different enough. My family, who only read luxury real estate magazines, never made the connection. The wealth accumulated strategically. First million by 28, then 100 million by 30, now approaching $500 million at 33. I bought the building where Catherine's husband's law firm rented space. Through a holding company they'd never connect to me. I acquired the bank that held James's precious mortgages. Every time they dismissed my computer hobby, my net worth grew exponentially. My strategic planning was meticulous. I maintained a simple apartment in Cambridge for family visits, though I owned the entire complex. I drove a modest car to their gatherings, while my real estate portfolio expanded across 3 continents. When they discussed property at dinner parties, I played dumb while secretly outbidding their social circle on every significant acquisition in Boston. The ultimate irony came when Mother's social club hosted a fundraiser in a historic building I'd purchased the week before. She spent the entire evening praising the mysterious new owner's taste, never realizing her basement-dwelling daughter held the deed. Every dismissal fueled another acquisition. Every snide comment added another property to my portfolio. Every basement assignment built my empire higher. The Morgan family mansion, a historic Beacon Hill estate estate worth $12.4 million had been the crown jewel of my parents' pretense. When I discovered they'd secretly mortgaged it to cover Catherine and James's failing investments, I knew it was time. This wasn't just about buying a house, it was about exposing their facade of wealth. I moved with absolute discretion. My private banker, Sarah Blackwood, handled everything through intricate channels. Your parents are 3 months from foreclosure, she explained. They don't want the social embarrassment of a public sale. Perfect their pride would ensure complete secrecy until my revelation. The acquisition was orchestrated like a stealth operation. Multiple shell companies, offshore accounts, and blind trusts ensured my name never appeared on any preliminary documents. Even the bank's board members didn't know my identity. My parents, desperate to avoid social humiliation, accepted the anonymous cash offer without question. Legal preparations were exhaustive. Harrison and Wells, my attorneys, created an ironclad ownership structure. Every potential challenge was anticipated, every loophole closed. The final deed was prepared with theatrical flair, my name revealed only on the last page, in bold letters they couldn't ignore. The Christmas reveal was planned to the minute. The deed would be presented during their annual property discussion, where they traditionally announced their plans for the estate's future. The timing was poetic. Just as they would start discussing who would inherit which part of the mansion, I would show them who really owned it all. Every detail was calculated for maximum impact. From the timing of the document presentation to the placement of the witnesses, nothing was left to chance. This revelation wouldn't just change property ownership, it would shatter their entire understanding of success and status. I arrived at the mansion precisely at 6, watching their Christmas performance unfold. Catherine stood at the grand entrance in her new Valentino, directing caterers with practiced superiority. James lounged by the fireplace, casually dropping hints about his latest property acquisitions, all leveraged with loans he couldn't afford. "Oh, Alexandra," Mother called out, her voice dripping with false sweetness. "The basement needs organizing. All those old decorations, you know." She shared a knowing look with Catherine. "We have some very important guests coming. Best to keep things appropriate." The basement assignment was delivered with their usual theatrical concern. "It's just that you're so good at organizing," Catherine simpered, while simultaneously instructing the photographer to capture the family by the Christmas tree without me, of course. James didn't even bother with pretense, simply pointing downstairs with his drink-laden hand. I played my part perfectly, clutching my handbag containing the deed as I descended the stairs. Each step down echoed with memories of previous exclusions, holidays spent arranging storage, family photos I was never in, celebrations I could only hear from below. The tension built as guests arrived. Through the basement ceiling, I could hear their practiced performances, Mother's voice carrying tales of family success, Catherine bragging about future inheritance plans, James holding court about property values. The irony of their confidence made the deed in my bag feel heavier. "The property discussion will begin at 8, I heard Mother announce upstairs, "when we'll reveal some exciting news about the estate's future." Perfect timing, their moment of supreme confidence would align exactly with my revelation. I checked my watch, 7:45 p.m. In 15 minutes, they'd learn that their basement-dwelling daughter owned every brick of their precious mansion. Through the basement's heating vents, their voices drifted down clearly. "Poor Alexandra," Catherine's fake sympathy carried through. "Still playing with her little computer company while we handle the real family legacy." James's laughter joined hers, the sound of ice clinking in expensive crystal. I sat among generations of discarded decorations, each piece representing a time they'd relegated me to the background. The vintage ornaments I'd carefully preserved each year, while they posed for photos upstairs. The antique angel I'd restored, only to watch Catherine claim credit for its placement atop the tree. "She'll never understand real success," Mother's voice filtered down. "Property, status, connections, these things require a certain breeding. Some people are simply meant for the basement." The words stung less now, knowing what was in my handbag. I touched the deed, its edges crisp and ready. I heard James explaining to guests how he'd renovate his wing of the mansion once he inherited it. Catherine chimed in about converting her portion into a showcase of luxury. Their plans for dividing a house they didn't own, couldn't afford, echoed through the vents. The final straw came when I heard Mother addressing the guests. "We'll begin our property discussion shortly. Though some family members," her paws pointed directly at the basement, "won't need to attend. Best to keep things among those who understand value." I stood, straightening my cheap blazer that cost more than their monthly mortgage payment. The deed felt warm in my hands, like it knew knew its moment was coming. Upstairs, they were gathering in the main parlor, champagne flowing, egos expanding. I checked my appearance in a dusty mirror, smiling at my reflection. Time to go upstairs, I whispered to the basement that had witnessed years of their cruelty. The real owner of this house has a property discussion to attend. I walked into the parlor just as Mother was raising her glass. Now, for our annual property discussion. She froze mid-sentence, seeing me emerge from the basement. Alexandra, dear, this is for immediate family who have a stake in the estate. Oh, I have quite a stake, I smiled, pulling out the leather folder containing the deed. In fact, you could say I have all the stakes. The crystal glasses clinked nervously as Catherine and James exchanged confused looks. What is she talking about? Catherine's perfectly glossed lips curled in disdain. I opened the folder slowly, savoring each second. The deed to 47 Beacon Hill Estate, I announced, my voice carrying across the suddenly silent room. Recently purchased for $12.4 million in cash. I paused, watching their expressions. By me. Mother's champagne glass slipped from her manicured fingers, shattering on the marble floor she no longer owned. James lunged forward, grabbing the deed with trembling hands. His face drained of color as he read my name on the document. This is impossible, Catherine shrieked, her designer dress suddenly seeming cheap. You live in a rental. You work with computers. You belong in the basement. Funny thing about basements, I replied calmly. They teach you to build from the ground up. While you were playing at success, I built a tech empire worth $500 million. While you were planning your inheritance, I was buying it out from under you. Mother found her voice, though it quavered. But our home is now my home, I corrected gently. Those mortgages you've been struggling to pay? I own those too. Consider this your 30-day notice. Though the basement is available if you'd like to stay. The power shift was palpable. Their social circle watched in stunned silence as the basement dweller became the mansion owner. This must be some kind of trick, Catherine sputtered, her perfect composure cracking. Daddy, do something! But our father stood frozen, the reality of their financial house of cards finally exposed. Your father can't do anything, I said quietly. The multiple mortgages you took out to cover James's failed investments? The liens against the property to pay for Catherine's social climbing? I own all of them now. I pulled out another document. Would you like to see the total amount you owe? Mother attempted damage control, her social instincts kicking in. Darling, we always knew you were capable. We just wanted to protect you from the complexities of protect me? I laughed softly. By exiling me to the basement? By excluding me from family photos? By treating me like a servant while you lived beyond your means? I turned to our gathered guests. Did you know they haven't actually owned this mansion outright for 5 years? James made one last attempt at superiority. At least we understand class, proper breeding. Proper breeding, I interrupted. Is that what you call mortgaging this house to cover your gambling debts? Is that what you call lying to Mother about where her jewelry disappeared to? Catherine burst into tears, her mascara creating black rivers down her cheeks. You're destroying our reputation. No, I replied calmly. You destroyed it yourselves. I just bought the evidence. I gestured to the Christmas tree they'd forbidden me to help decorate. Every ornament here, every piece of furniture, every brick in this house now belongs to the daughter you, banished to the basement. The room fell silent, except for Catherine's sobs and the sound of James's expensive watch hitting the floor as he slumped into a chair. Merry Christmas, I said softly. Consider this your last one in my house. The social avalanche that followed was spectacular. By New Year's, the entire Boston elite circle knew. The Morgan family's basement-dwelling daughter now owned their precious mansion. The same relatives who'd ignored me at gatherings suddenly discovered urgent needs to reconnect. Aunt Eleanor, who'd always echoed Mother's dismissals, called in tears. Darling, I always saw your potential. Uncle Richard, who'd relegated me to the children's table well into my 30s, suddenly remembered he had investment opportunities to discuss. Their desperate attempts at damage control only highlighted their previous cruelty. The property transfer became the talk of Beacon Hill. Tech CEO's holiday revelation reshapes. Family dynasty ran in the Boston Globe's society pages. The article detailed how the forgotten daughter had secretly built an empire while her family played at success. Catherine's social media went dark as her followers discovered her luxury lifestyle had been built on loans she couldn't repay. James's banking colleagues, who'd dismissed my computer work, now desperately sought meetings. His boss nearly fainted learning that the basement sister owned half the properties in their portfolio. Mother's country club friends, who'd followed her lead in excluding me, now sent desperate invitations to their events. The sweetest moment came when the Beacon Hill Historical Society, which had repeatedly rejected Mother's membership application, invited me to be their chairperson. We should have recognized recognize true preservation extends beyond appearances, they said, pointedly ignoring her presence at their annual meeting. My phone buzzed constantly with messages from relatives suddenly discovering their deep connection to technology and real estate. Each one received the same response, a screenshot of their past comments about my inappropriate career choices. The family's carefully constructed social facade crumbled as quickly as their financial one. Every snub, every basement banishment, every exclusion now stood as testament to their spectacular misjudgment. 1 year later, the Morgan mansion hosts different kinds of gatherings. The basement has been transformed into a tech incubator, where young entrepreneurs build their dreams. Catherine works there now, learning humility while managing community outreach. James handles property maintenance, finally understanding the difference between owning something and deserving it. Mother still struggles with the change, but she's learning. The social circle she once worshipped has been replaced by people who value innovation over inheritance. The family photos now include everyone, no one relegated to the background or basement. Success is measured not by where you stand, but by how you help others rise. The Christmas tree this year sparkles with new meaning. Each ornament represents a startup we've funded, a life we've changed, a barrier we've broken. The basement that once held their shame now launches new generations of dreamers who understand that true worth isn't determined by which floor you occupy. To everyone watching, who's been sent to the metaphorical basement, who's been told they don't belong upstairs, who's been made to feel less than because they don't fit the family image, your worth isn't measured by where they place you. Sometimes the person they banish to the basement ends up owning the whole house. If this story resonates with you, share your experience in the comments. Let's build a community where we celebrate authentic achievement over inherited status, where success is measured by impact rather than appearance, and where family means lifting each other up, not pushing some down. Remember to subscribe for more stories about turning exclusion into excellence and basement banishment into boardroom triumph, because sometimes the best revenge isn't just proving them wrong, it's succeeding so spectacularly that their social hierarchy becomes irrelevant. True legacy isn't which floor you inherit, it's what you build from the foundation up. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe for more powerful revenge stories. And if you've ever faced betrayal or family drama, feel free to share your story in the comments, because your voice matters here.